my loves. Welcome and welcome back to another episode of Tea Time with TT's podcast. Before we get into today's subject, okay, I would like for you guys to stop what you're doing right now, like, share, subscribe, and comment. Make sure you share and hit the notification bell so that the next time I go live, you are aware, okay? Without further ado, take a look at this video. Then we're going to discuss the bush, okay? But, just check it out.
I just had a conversation with someone I'm going to share, because I think black women, ladies, you guys, you need to know this, that sometimes when we are womanizers, it's not always because we just love puss. It's not that. It's not that we enjoy the feminine energy. You guys are gods. We're womanizers because we actually don't like women. We have mama problems, and we are mad at all of the women in our life, particularly when we were growing up. And so psychologically, sleeping with a whole lot of you guys, it sort of is our way of acting out, almost like a little boy. And then some of the rest of us, we have an insatiable sexual desire. And we actually could be having some sexual desire that we aren't that proud of. It may be, in our eyes, abnormal. So every time we knock one of y'all out and smash, hold on, let me say it another way. Every time we have intercourse with a woman, it validates to us our normalcy that really is not. Think about it. I know y'all men gonna be mad at me in the comment section, so you're gonna say up under the video, you speaking for yourself. I'm not. I'm speaking for some other people, possibly could be you undercover. But it's a reality. Maybe not across the board for all men, but I'm just saying.
Now, what you just saw was a blogger, prophet, and pastor, and things like that. Larry Reed Live, okay? He has a YouTube, guys. Go check out some of the stuff. I mean, he speaks to some very important topics, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that you got to be all churchy, you got to go to church and all of that good stuff in order to be able to understand where he's coming from. I saw this post maybe like a week ago, I would say like a week ago, and I was like, oh no, Spirit was like, you got to speak on this, okay? I want you guys to first comment down below how you feel about what he said, and I'm going to unpack this with you guys. We're going to unpack this today. Okay, so what Larry said was, when women don't respect other women, or when women are when men are womanizers, when men don't respect their moms and things like that, that most times it's mommy issues, and they don't like women, and they're basically taking out some mommy issues that they might have had on these women who basically are not to blame, but it is because they have not dealt with some issues that they have with their mother. And then the other statement that he said was that maybe these men have sexual desires that they feel are bad, or that won't be received well by their women and things like that. This could be like gayness, or like some kind of fetish that they might not like and things like that. So I want to say first that I totally agree with what Larry Reed has said. I'm going to explain and break it down as much as I possibly can. And I'm going to also tell you guys how I feel like this applies to women as well. Okay, so let's just go ahead and get started. Again, if you're watching and you haven't liked, shared, or subscribed, or hit the notification bell, do that, honey, because we're going to get into it today. I want you guys to comment down below, interact. As you know, those of you that are here before, you know I'm going to respond back. And those who are new, welcome. But we're going to go ahead and get this unpacked. So we're going to first speak to the conversation about the mommy issues that a lot of these men or womanizers have. This community peen, honey, okay, or community coochie. I mean, whatever you want to call it, okay. But this is typically a reflection of the relationship that you have with your family members. Okay, I'm going to say this. Most of the things that I teach about with my clients or my students or whatever have you, it is from a place of experience. I try my best not to speak on something that I have not researched and stuff like that without me having to have actually experienced it myself. That being said, I have found, you know, because I'm part of the LGBTQIA element of P community. I can say it, but y'all can't, okay? But I am part of the LGBTQIA. I hope I didn't miss anybody. Community now. But I was not always identifying as just, you know, straight. I've always identified privately before that as bisexual, right before I came out of the closet. So in my experience of dating guys and things like that, I would find that a lot of them definitely mistreated women because of mommy issues. Whether it be that they felt like they didn't respect their mother because she took too much crap from their dad, or whether it be that the mother just was not a good mom or not there, or whether she would give her own happiness and her own healing for the sake of her children or her husband or partner. People don't realize this, but your children grow up realizing and seeing that. And when they get older and realize that that's not the thing to do, they become resentful of mom because they're expecting us to model how they are supposed to move going forward. So I found that a lot of men basically womanize that way. So like, for instance, I don't feel like it's just mommy issues that causes this. I also feel like it's daddy issues as well. Because if you grew up and your dad was, you know, outside like mine was, my dad was an outside kind of guy, but he was a great dad and he was a great provider for his home, but he was outside. You know what I'm saying? He's out, you know, I don't know if he's outside still. He's not going to tell me because he don't want to hear my mouth. But you begin to think that that's okay, or that you are not somewhat like your parents because of the fact that you're not necessarily behaving like them. Some people go so far as to be hyper focused on not being like their parents that they end up becoming that. So I've dated and been married too a few times, and I haven't hung over there, but I have, and divorced. And I have watched situations happen or watch wounds, you know, resurface in the form of domestic violence. Shout out to the domestic violence survivors. But it played itself out in a very vile and disgusting way. And unless these men really take the time to try to heal that, and I don't mean just saying, oh, I forgive my mom, blah, 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 blah. Like, no, take your butt to therapy, take your butt to therapy, take your butt to therapy, and take your butt to therapy. Unpack all of that and figure out why you have an issue with women, okay? That's number one. Number two, during my awakening process, I realized that I used to date people like my mother. And then when I came out of the closet, I would date women. I used to date men like my dad. And then when I came out of the closet, I would date women like my mom. And while I love my parents did the best that they could. My dad throws money at stuff. Because he really has a hard time dealing with emotions. He's not abusive, but like he's just like, you know, he liked to do him, you know. And when I first came out of the closet, I used to be like, I like to do me. Okay, let's keep it a buck. Okay, so it's not just men dealing with daddy issues. I didn't have any necessarily daddy issues like, oh, my dad wasn't there and stuff like that. I was blessed in that aspect, but I was like really on some I paid the boss cost to be the boss kind of thing, very non-committal in my younger years. Like, oh, I messed with girls, women at one time. And I was respectful with everybody and they were respectful with me, but I felt like my dad could do it. I take care of myself. And if I want to take care of her, I take care of her too. But she's going to be respectful of me in my home, in my space. And I'm going to do the same for her. But like, no, I could do what I want. I don't want to settle down. Y'all play too much. That was like my energy. But it was like, really, I didn't realize how much I was mimicking, you know, my dad. So then I went on, you know, from there to then start to pick when I really got serious about somebody, I would pick someone who was like my mom. And my mother is a good mother. Don't get it twisted. We've been through a lot together, a lot. So for her to be the type of mom she is and have gone through some of the horrific things that she's gone through, she's also a domestic violence survivor. And it almost cost her life. For her to go through that and still have her wits about her is amazing. However, my mother's not very emotional, not very emotional or attached, you know, the way that I would want her to be, like as far as like mom and daughter things. Like we're not, I wouldn't say we're close in that aspect. She has very masculine energy. I'll say that. And so I would pick women that were emotionally unavailable and that I seemed like I was constantly trying to like prove my love for them or prove that I was worth keeping and different things like that. And I was in therapy in my marriage, my third marriage with my wife. This is the first time I was married to a woman. And I was in my third marriage with my wife and I'm in therapy. And the lady just says, in the middle of me going off about everything that I'm going through in that marriage, she says, how's your relationship with your mom? And I'm like, it's fucked up, but blah, 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 blah. I'm just still talking, going off. And I'm like, oh, and then out of nowhere, boom, light bulb goes off. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm dating the same women with the same energy as my mother because I was still holding on and harboring things that I didn't realize I was harboring and things like that I had not healed because I was just trying to go to therapy and get help with my immediate situation that I didn't realize that I needed to go reach back for the little girl, reach back and see what it is that I learned. That was a learned behavior that I'm now acting out in my adult life. So I say that to say, and so it was not even just the men though, because then I started talking about like, you know, the relationships, like the guy that shot my mom and stuff like that. That wasn't my biological dad, but I did see a lot of abuse growing up. So when I would get into relationships and I would see red flags, instead of me being like, yo, I'm out of here, I'm like, oh, well, he ain't hit me yet. He hasn't done nothing. You know what I'm saying? He ain't hit me. He talk crazy, but that ain't gonna do nothing to me. That's what I'm thinking in my head. Or, you know, or just because they didn't exhibit it in the way that I'm used to seeing it, I didn't pay attention to it or I didn't want to listen. So yeah, so in that space, I was dating guys, but like if they would do something to hurt me or harm me or something, they would give me some money. They would, you know, go extra hard to make sure I had everything that I needed and stuff. So I didn't leave. And in my head, you know, that's how my dad shows that he loved me. If I'm crying, my dad be like, well, what the fuck can I throw at it? Like, I'm sending you money. Why are you crying? You know what I'm saying? In his head, instead of him being like able to console me, he didn't deal very well with emotions. He doesn't communicate very well about those things. And I get it. That's who he is. But at the same time, I found myself going towards those type of people. And it wasn't a good look. So I get what Larry is saying as far as like, yo, you gotta go and you gotta go and understand the psyche of a person that's doing things like that. Like it's something deeper than that. It's not about you. It's really something that's deep seated within them. So to that, I would say anybody that is finding themselves dating people that are a certain way like that, you really need to go to therapy. You really need to address the relationships that you had with your parents and really unpack that, because 9 times out of 10, every little girl is looking for a husband like her daddy, and every you know, man is looking for a woman like his mom. And if he don't respect her anyway, because she took the most, she got beat up and she stayed, or this, that, and the third, then 9 times out of 10, that's what he's looking for you to do. And it's just not cool, you know? It really isn't. And I don't want to say just that, you know, every girl looks for her dad and every dad looks for, I mean, every boy looks for his mom. This could go the same with same-sex couples. If your mother had masculine energy and your dad was more feminine and you like masculine energy, you might be modeling yourself after or looking for the energy of your mom. Or if you are like me, I liked women who were masculine energy. Like I said, my mom had a lot of masculine energy. My dad is more so like a feminine energy, not like flamboyant or nothing like that, but he's definitely like I would say the softer side of my two parents, because it bothers him. You know what I'm saying? I see my mother cry 3 times. I'm 40. Okay. I don't think I've seen my dad cry except for when we moved from Mississippi, but at the same time, he's a strong country Mississippi man, honey. Now we're not gonna get that twisted. But as far as like things are concerned with like hurting and stuff, he doesn't want us to hurt. He, you know, like that kind of thing. Like he has an issue, you know. And so it was just different. I was looking for that in the people that I was dating and being in relationship with, as far as like women were concerned. And then I was turning around and, you know, trying to be in the closet, marrying these womanizing ass men that don't like women either, that don't want to, you know, take accountability for the fact that they don't like women because of, you know, their relationship with their mom or what they've seen their mom endure or stick around for and stuff like that. Very chauvinistic and abusive and things like that, with attitudes. And yeah, so it's very, very important before you date anybody or before anyone dates anybody to go and get some help and unpack all of that, because it's not fair to do to someone else. And then if you are dating someone, okay, blink twice if you need help, honey. Give me a little blink. Because if you see that they have these issues and that this might be an issue, run, leave, run, leave, or don't get serious or something. Pay attention, because it's a problem. It's a problem. And you know how the old school heads used to tell us, if he don't respect his mama, he ain't gonna respect you. It wasn't even nothing about, oh yeah, you know what I'm saying, like that's gonna give you a precursor or you judging the person. Is literally true, because whatever their issue is with their mama, they're gonna show that in you. Whatever their issue is with their dad, they're gonna show that in you. Or they're 9 times out of 10, you're gonna be a reflection of that parent that they had an issue with. Even guys, if you know that your woman is with you, you need to think and pay attention to how her relationship is with her dad, because that'll let you know if you Nick, okay. And I'm sorry, that's just what it is. It's just what it is. So now we're gonna get on to the other part of the video that we saw. Number 1, shout out to Larry Reid for letting it be known that they know we are gods, okay? We are gods in this physical existence. The creator is the one true creator, but we are very close to God because we are the vessels in which life is brought from the spirit realm into the physical. We are the incubation of spirit. The creators of physicality. So, number 1, I like how he said it real quick and kept it moving, but shout out to us. Okay, God, that says that's if more of us knew that about ourselves or paid attention to that about ourselves, there would be a lot less jealousy going on around here. A lot less women putting their foot on another woman's neck. It don't have nothing to do with whether or not you gave birth to a child or whatever. It's just that the ability that you do have that ability to do that. Everything that women touch, we create, we make better, and we elevate. But we also have the power to destroy ourselves or other people that same way. You got to be careful. So the next comment that he said was basically a lot of guys are angry because they might have a very strong sexual desire that they are not comfortable with expressing to their partner, or they feel like they can't. And they might have like a sex addiction. They might like men, might like penetration from a woman. They might like all of these different things. They might like bondage or something. You never know. And as a result, they just act out because they can't get what it is that they want because they don't feel comfortable enough saying that. That is also something that needs to be addressed in therapy, not necessarily the sexual prowess, so much as the lack of ability to communicate what you need, because that is necessary as an adult. It's necessary as a child. And a lot of us, people of color, are not taught these things. And, also, I wouldn't even just say people of color, just people who may not have grown up with the best of the best, or grown up and been taught that it's okay to go and talk to somebody, or, maybe they were on their own their whole life and stuff like that. And it kind of causes you to like clam up. Or if you're like myself, who has PTSD and stuff like that, sometimes that's the safest thing you feel like, I'll say nothing because I just don't even want to deal with it. So I feel like in both of these situations or instances, it's very important to heal. Regarding like relationships with parents as well, not only therapy, birth trauma Reiki was very helpful for me in my healing journey, as well as going to therapy. So when I did birth trauma Reiki, it was amazing for me because it allowed me to see my parents in a more human light, and to put myself in their shoes for a little while, So that was really helpful too. So I recommend that to anybody. But yeah, that's basically what I'm thinking. I'm just feeling like, too many times and too often we have been walking around as ticking time bombs. And a lot of times it's not fun to take accountability. Healing is not fun. Shadow work is not fun. Therapy is not fun. Even if you need to take meds, take the damn meds. But we all need to really try our best to be a better versions of ourselves or our parents for our children and their children and their children. Like everything that I do now, I'm trying to think about how this will affect my children and my grandchildren, because that's the fact of the matter. I don't want them having to unpack all of the things that we had to unpack, having to be okay with their spiritual gifts, or having to be okay with their prophetic giftings, or having to be okay with their sexual orientation or things like that. Because they were told that all of this stuff was wrong, that there was something wrong with them. I don't want my children having to do that. I'm a mother of 4 beautiful young ladies, because I can't say babies, because my youngest is 16, almost 17 in a couple of weeks. And my oldest is 23. So I've done a great job. I feel like I've done a great job, but also in a lot of times, out of me being afraid of my healing, I feel like I've done a great disservice. And so it's important for them to see my healing and see my journey and be able to look at where it is that I've come from, because they tell me all the time how proud they are of me. And I'm really, really thankful. I'll shout out to my babies. I love y'all. And it made them be okay with therapy. It made them okay with being healed and using their gifts and just not taking anybody's crap, right? And I'm grateful for that, but it's our job. Now's the time. If you're trying to break some generational curses, you got to first start with yourself. You are your greatest client, your greatest curse to break, honey. I want you guys to comment down below, like literally comment down below. Keep it all the way 100, because you might be helping somebody in those comment sections. I hope that this reaches the ears that it needs to reach. I hope that everybody that watches it, that something happens within them, a light bulb goes off. That is the purpose for this podcast. But that was it, y'all. Comment down below. Like I said, make sure you share, like, share, subscribe, comment. If you know somebody that might be going through this or might have gone through it in the past and is wondering, why am I always getting hurt? Why am I always in these situations? By no means is it ever your fault, but there are some things that we have to take responsibility for as well in our situations. And sometimes, us inadvertently picking people and using people to try to heal a wound is not good. It's not good, and it's not the best way to do things. We want to come into connections all the rest of 2022, all the way into 23 and beyond, healed, happy, and whole, peaceful, loving ourselves, confident, owning our shadow side, and knowing all of our triggers and knowing everything about ourselves, therefore no one else could tell us about us, okay? I love you guys so much, and I'll see you next week. Peace.